had two 12-hour layovers in Lima, Peru, one on the way to Machu Picchu and one on the way home. Most people would wait them out at the airport, maybe scroll, sleep, complain. But I figured if I'm going to spend 24 hours in Peru's capital, even if it's split in half, I might as well make it count. I've always loved capital cities. They're rarely the reason people book a flight, but they show you what daily life really looks like. The commutes, the chaos, the conversations that aren't meant for tourists, and an uncurated look at what culture really is within a country. And if you're coming from the US, you'll probably end up here anyway. To reach Machu Picchu, you first have to go to Cusco. And to get to Cusco from Austin, that usually means a flight or drive to Houston and then a connection through either Bogota or Lima. So why not lean into it? For an explorer like me, the sound logical thing to do was simple. Turn 2 layovers into 1 full day in Lima. Our first stop this morning on our long layover in Lima is Park Kennedy. Yes, after President John F. Kennedy, which seems weird. This is actually considered the center of Miraflores, which is a really great starting point for us to just kind of like walk around. But it's named after President Kennedy because he started something called the Alliance for Progress, which was started to bring democracy and social reform to Latin America. And during his time, they gave $20 billion to different countries in Latin America. I guess this is a little bit of a gift to give back. Got a really pretty playground, and it's also known for having a ton of cats. We've already seen a few. I'll show you the rest of the park now. Vamos. Hi, Judy. Oh my goodness. Just passing through. I love the shape of all of these trees in here. I don't know if this is natural or they like bonsai them, but isn't that so neat? Go kiss his bust. Kennedy Park was so cute, and now we're walking to Pucllana Historical Site. It's so nice to be able to explore somewhere by walking. It's one of my favorite things to do. And it's been pretty easy, feels super safe. The only thing is that there are sometimes traffic lights and there are sometimes not. And there definitely is people who drive really fast and a little bit of congestion. So you have to know when to jump and walk forward and not. Sometimes you just have to wait for the other cars to be brave enough and then you kind of walk alongside them. So if you're walking around, be careful. But let's go check out this pyramid that's just in the middle of Lima. Surrounded by cafes, apartments, and city traffic, there's this enormous mound that looks completely out of place. This is Huaca Pucllana, a pre-Incan ceremonial site built by the Lima culture over 1,500 years ago. Today, it's an archaeological site, but for decades, most people didn't realize what they were looking at. Imagine this whole thing covered by dirt. For generations, people thought it was just a hill, something natural that had always been there. Kids rode their bikes down it, people used it as a park, and for a while, it was even a motocross track. The surprising thing, most locals knew what was underneath. It wasn't until the 80s that archaeologists were finally allowed to dig. And even now, decades later, they're still uncovering new sections, slowly piecing together what life here once looked like. So they built out this pyramid with the stones vertically like this in a technique called the bookshelf technique, and it's because this is a seismic area where they have a lot of earthquakes, and so it leaves room for them to shake. So even in like 100 AD, they were aware of these natural occurrences and how to prevent buildings from falling during them. How cool is that? We had so much more figured out in our ancient civilizations than I think any of us give credit to humans for.
As archaeologists dug deeper, they began uncovering burial sites hidden within the layers, the remains of priests, women, and children carefully wrapped and buried with pottery, textiles, and food, as you can see here. And some of these burials are considered to be ceremonial sacrifices, offerings to the gods of the sea and the earth that the Lima culture worshipped here. But this wasn't just a sacred site, but also the center of daily life, a place for ritual, trade, and community. If you try hard enough, you can picture the life of the people who lived before, where they lived, their trading posts, how they tended fires and worked the land around the pyramid. Now the city hums all around it. Cars, cafes, apartments, but underneath it all, this ancient heartbeat is still being uncovered piece by piece. Before heading to the airport, we stopped for one last coffee, because if you know me, I need a coffee in every city I visit. It was a quiet chance to slow down before the next leg of our trip, trading Lima's coastline for the mountains of Cusco, where we'd spend the next week hiking to Machu Picchu. And now's a great time to subscribe so you don't miss the next part of the adventure.
The next week took us deep into the Andes, with early mornings, cobblestone streets, and the kind of views that make you stop mid-sentence. We hiked, we laughed, and we survived the inescapable altitude sickness. And even though we probably weren't ready to leave, it was time to make our way back to Lima and step into the final 12 hours of our trip.
By about 3 o'clock, we were back in Lima, walking along the coastline for the first time. I'm glad we were able to come back because during our first 12 hours here, we never made it to the coast. And seeing it in person with surfers below and paragliders gliding overhead, you really start to realize how much of Lima's life revolves around the ocean.
Think anyone's gonna catch a wave?
From there, we were able to walk to Puku, a cafe that is ranked as one of the best coffee shops in the world. But I have to disagree. I wasn't impressed by their cortado, and they don't make their own syrups, which to me says a lot about the level of care that can go into a coffee program. I could easily name 10 spots in Austin that outshine it, which is why I have some qualms with this so-called top 100 list, but that's a rant for another day.
We just got facials, can you tell? I definitely am feeling a little zooted after that. They went hardcore into the blackheads, pulling stuff out. That's one of the great things about, I know my hair looks crazy too. Audie gives an 8 out of 10, but I was gonna say, I think I've had 2 facials in my whole lifetime, so I don't even know what a good facial would be like. But the pretty sweet thing about Peru is you can get massages and facials for super cheap in comparison to like US prices. So definitely if you have some free time, whether you're in Lima or Cusco, go see if you can go get yourself a facial or massage. Super worth it. So something that I learned on this trip is that Peru actually has the largest population of Chinese people in South America. Because of that, there is now a fusion of food known as chifa, which is Chinese and Peruvian food. That is what we're going to have for dinner tonight. And right now we're at Chifa Hawa.
I'm curious what the food entails. This is some spicy chili sauce, man. Yeah. And then I have a tamarind sauce over here, which looks like tamarind sauce. Hopefully it does. Tastes like one. It does, yeah. So good guess. And then this one is interesting. It has some spices on top. Yeah, it looks like this. Muddied water. But I'm sure it might be something very interesting. Oh yeah, it's lemon juice. Spiced lemon juice. Guess what is this, guys? Subscribers, let me know what do you think this is. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. It's definitely not fish sauce. Oh, it might be. It might be fish sauce. You like it? I don't think I've tasted something like this before.
A little spicy. What is it? Shrimp? Mixta? I'm gonna get some of these noodles. That was so hot. Heat hot. Ooh. That burnt the whole inside of my mouth. This is a big soup. We're gonna have way too much food.
I think so.
We go to the airport in like 2 hours. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we just got our duck and our shrimp fried rice. Lastly, we have some kind of fried wonton. I don't think we remember what we ordered. Chicken? Look at that. Oh yeah, it was mass, M-A-S-S, on the English menu. M-A-S-S, crispy chicken wonton. That is crispy. Try it with a little tamarind.
The kitchen is big.
Oop, I'm not loving the wontons. I feel like they could use some more flavor of some sort, but they're packed.
Oh.
Now we're gonna eat a little bit of this duck. That definitely looks juicy. No, that is good. I feel bad, but I love duck. So tender, and the skin is crispy on the outside. Really nice flavor as well. Man, duck just like melts in your mouth. It's crazy. You're telling me a shrimp fried this rice? Now, fried rice is easy to make, but hard to make really good. I need some sriracha. Give me some of that chili oil. Now that I chili oiled it up. Really good. Adi is our resident fried rice expert though. What do you think?
You can taste the wok, so it's really good. Perfect blend of eggs, shrimp, rice. I think they nailed it.
I think the place where I definitely see the most like Peruvian influence in this Chinese food has got to be the soup, because it literally looks like a mixta, like empanada, but in a soup. Otherwise, I feel like, I don't know, maybe these very crispy wontons. I've never seen a wonton quite like that before, so maybe that's a little bit more Peruvian influence. But otherwise, I feel like the duck, the fried rice seems pretty typical for Chinese food. And then maybe some of the sauces are a little different. I would not typically think that we get these 5 different sauces in like an American Chinese restaurant. So we'll have to play around with some of these. Maybe we're missing out on one of the combos or something. Adi, anything else before we go and just enjoy our food?
I think duck has some Peruvian spice in it. It's not a typical roasted duck that you get. And then they make their own sauces, looks like it. I've never tasted something like that before. The chili might be a Peruvian chili. So it has a special spiciness to it. Yeah, I'm gonna chow down on my meal, I guess. It's delicious.
After spending a little time hanging out in a local hostel that was holding our luggage, I actually went and got a tattoo. You wouldn't know that because I got absolutely zero footage of this happening, but it's true, it's there. But trust me, by the end of all this, we were finally ready to head back home to Texas. Our flight got delayed quite a few times, which seems to be the norm these days. We ended up not leaving until I think like 2:30 or 3 in the morning, which is insane. And that ends up wrapping up our 24 hours in Lima. 12 on the way in, 12 on the way out, and somehow it feels like we barely did anything while we were there. But it was like the bread on a lomo saltado, 2 pieces holding the whole trip together, and honestly, it was just as good as the middle. And thanks for hanging out and coming along. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because next up is our full week in Cusco and hike to Machu Picchu. You won't want to miss it.